Most people wake up every morning already living on autopilot. They do the same things, feel the same way, think the same thoughts, and then wonder why nothing changes in their lives. Let me tell you something. Comfort might feel safe. It's quietly killing your potential. The truth is, every single breakthrough in your life is hiding behind a challenge you've been avoiding. Think about it. When was the last time you truly pushed yourself beyond what was easy? Not when life forced you to, not when circumstances left you with no choice, but when you decided to test your limits. The difference between those who succeed at the highest level and those who settle is simple. Successful have trained themselves to seek out challenge, not run from it. Because here's the reality: success doesn't come to the person who waits. It comes to the person who is willing to face the discomfort, is willing to do what's hard when nobody's watching, who is willing to grow every single day. If you want to create a life that excites you, a life where you feel alive instead of just existing, then you have to challenge yourself every single day. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why those daily challenges matter, how they shape your mindset, your discipline, and ultimately your future. So if you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever felt like there's more inside you, but you just can't break through, that ends today. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you every single day, telling you to take the easy path, to stay where you are, to protect yourself from risk, to avoid the unknown. And the scary part is it feels good. It feels safe. It feels like the right choice in the moment. But what most people never realize is that comfort has a hidden cost. It robs you of your potential. It steals your hunger, kills your ambition, and it leaves you with a life that looks okay on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. Think about it. The human brain is wired to keep you comfortable. It's designed to keep you alive, not to make you thrive. So every time you think about pushing beyond your limits, every time you feel that spark inside telling you to go for more, your mind throws up alarms. It says, stay here. Don't move. Don't try that. Don't risk failure. Embarrass yourself. And if you listen, if you give in, you train yourself to settle. You start building habits of avoidance instead of habits of courage. But here's the truth. Nothing extraordinary has ever been created from comfort. Not a business, not a relationship, not a body, not a dream. Growth does not live in the land of comfort. Growth exists just on the other side of challenge, just past the place where you feel resistance. The moment you stop running from that resistance and start embracing it, everything in your life begins to shift. Look at your own life for a moment. Think about a time you grew, a time you transformed, a time you became stronger, sharper, more alive. It when everything was easy? Or was it when you faced something hard, something uncertain, something that demanded more from you than you thought you had to give? You and I both know the answer. Growth happens in the struggle. It happens in the challenge. It happens when you stretch yourself beyond what feels comfortable and step into what feels impossible. And yet, so many people spend their lives running from this truth. They work jobs they don't love. They don't challenge themselves to build something new. They settle in relationships that drain them, but they don't challenge themselves to demand more or to grow into someone who can attract better. They wake up, go through the motions, convince themselves this is just how life is. But deep down, they know they're capable of more. They know there's another level. And the reason they don't touch it isn't because it's out of reach. It's because they've chosen comfort over growth. Now, here's where it gets powerful. Every time you challenge yourself, you create a new standard for what's possible. You raise the bar. You stretch the boundaries of who you believe you are. You start to see yourself differently. That's why comfort is so dangerous. It freezes your identity. It locks you into the story of who you've been instead of who you could become. But challenge reshapes your identity. It forces you to step into a new version of yourself, a stronger version, a version that knows how to handle more, do more, and be more. And the best part is this doesn't require huge, dramatic leaps. You don't have to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. It doesn't come only from massive challenges. It comes from daily ones. Every day, you're given opportunities to lean into discomfort, to speak up when you'd normally stay quiet, to run that extra mile when your body says stop, to take the risk on that idea you've been sitting on, to have the hard conversation you've been avoiding, to wake up earlier, to push harder, to expect more from yourself. These small daily choices are where greatness is born. People always ask, how do I build confidence? It's not built by sitting around waiting for it to appear. Confidence is built through challenge. It's built through proving to yourself again and again that you can do hard things, that you can keep promises to yourself, that you can handle discomfort and still keep moving forward. Every challenge you overcome becomes another brick in the foundation of your confidence. That's how you build unshakable belief in yourself. Not by staying comfortable, but by facing discomfort and conquering it. And here's the reality you can't escape. Life will challenge you whether you choose it or not. Life will throw pain at you. It will throw obstacles. It will throw setbacks. You don't get to choose that. But what you can choose is whether you wait for those challenges to come or whether you train yourself every day to handle them before they arrive. If you challenge yourself daily, you're ready when life shows up. You've built the resilience, the grit, the strength to handle anything. But if you avoid challenge, if you live in comfort, life hits you, and it will. You won't have the muscles to withstand it. So the question becomes, are you going to wait for life to test you, or are you going to test yourself? Because the people who rise, the people who achieve, People who live lives of impact and fulfillment, they don't wait for challenges, they create them. They don't hide from discomfort, they seek it out. They don't run from fear, they run toward it. That's how they grow. That's how they expand. That's how they create lives that inspire not only themselves, but everyone around them. I want you to imagine your life 5 years from now. If you keep choosing comfort, if you keep avoiding the challenges that scare you, what will your life look like? It be richer, fuller, more alive, or will it look the same as it does today, just with more regret attached to it? And then I want you to imagine what your life could look like if you made the decision today to embrace challenge daily. Imagine the skills you'd build, the strength you'd develop, the opportunities you'd create, the pride you'd feel. That version of you is waiting, but it won't come knocking. You have to chase it. You have to earn it. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time you choose it, you trade away the future for the present. But every time you choose challenge, you trade the present for a greater future. That's the trade that transforms everything. The mistake so many people make is believing that transformation only happens through some massive breakthrough, some giant event, some dramatic turning point. They think success comes in one leap, decision, one big win. But that's not how it works. Real change doesn't come from one explosive moment. It comes from the small, consistent challenges you choose every single day. That's where the magic is. Think about it like this. Your life right now is the result of your habits, the small decisions you've been making day after day, year after year. If you're strong, if you're confident, if you're successful, it's not because of one single choice. It's because you've stacked thousands of small decisions that built that reality. And if you're stuck, if you feel behind, if you're frustrated, it's the same principle. It's not because of one bad decision. It's because of the small ones you've repeated. That's why daily challenges are so powerful. They interrupt the pattern. They break the cycle. They create a ripple that compounds over time until your entire life is different. Let me give you an example. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you decide to do something simple. Take a cold shower instead of a warm one. It doesn't sound life-changing. It's just 2 minutes of discomfort, right? But in that 2 minutes, you teach yourself something vital. You are the kind of person who chooses challenge over comfort. You are the kind of person who does what's hard when most won't. And the next day, you face a bigger challenge, a tough decision at work, a conversation you've been avoiding, the temptation to quit early. You've already reinforced the identity of someone who doesn't back down. Small act begins to ripple through everything. The same principle applies to every area of life. You want to be healthier? Don't focus on losing 50 pounds overnight. Challenge yourself today to drink more water, to skip the junk food just this once, to take the stairs instead of the elevator. You want to build a successful business. Don't obsess over building an empire tomorrow. Challenge yourself today to make one call, to reach out to one person, to write down one idea. You want to become more confident. Don't wait until you feel fearless. Challenge yourself today to speak up in one meeting, to introduce yourself to one stranger, to say yes to one opportunity that scares you. Happens as these small challenges begin to build momentum. They stack on top of each other and slowly, almost invisibly, they transform you. You start noticing that what once felt hard now feels normal. What once scared you no longer does. You raise the bar again, you push further, you set the next challenge. And over time, those small steps lead to massive transformation. But here's the key. You can't just do it once and stop. It has to be daily, because growth is like a muscle. If you work it once and then stop for months, it doesn't get stronger, it gets weaker. But if you train it every day, if you challenge yourself consistently, it becomes unshakable. That's why the small daily challenges are so important. They're not about the task itself. They're about training the muscle of discipline, training the muscle of courage, training the muscle of growth. The danger is most people underestimate the power of the small things. They think difference doesn't make if I skip this workout. What difference does it make if I don't speak up today? What difference does it make if I eat this one meal or if I stay in bed an extra hour? It doesn't seem like much in the moment. Small choices compound. They either take you closer to who you want to be or further away. In the same way, one small challenge can start to build momentum forward. One small compromise can start to drag you backward. Let me ask you something. What if starting today, you committed to one small challenge every day for the next year, just one? What do you think your life would look like 12 months from now? That's 365 acts of courage, 365 moments where you said yes to growth instead of comfort. 365 victories that prove to you that you're stronger than your excuses. Do you realize how much you would transform in that time? You wouldn't even recognize yourself. I've seen it happen over and over again. People who felt weak, who felt stuck, felt like they had no control over their lives. They started with something small, just one push-up a day, just 5 minutes of journaling, just waking up 30 minutes earlier. And those little daily challenges created momentum. That momentum created belief. That belief created action. And that action created transformation. It's not glamorous. It's not dramatic, but it's real and it's powerful. And here's the best part. Once you start living this way, you stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You stop waiting for life to give you a reason, because you've built the habit of creating challenges for yourself. You've trained yourself to live in a state of growth. When that becomes who you are, success stops being something you chase and starts being something you attract. Now, I want you to really think about the kind of life you want to create, not just in vague terms, but in detail. Who do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you want to accomplish? That life is built not on one grand moment, but on small daily challenges stacked one on top of the other. Every day you wake up, you're either moving closer to that life or further away. There is no standing still. And the way you move closer is by choosing the small challenges that build you into the person who can create that life. So don't underestimate them. Don't look past them. Don't dismiss them as insignificant, because they're not. They're everything. The difference between who you are today and who you want to become is hidden in those small challenges you choose or avoid every single day. That's where your transformation lies. And the truth is, longer you wait, the harder it gets. Every day you delay, you strengthen the habit of staying the same. But every day you choose a small challenge, you weaken that old identity and strengthen the new one. That's how real change happens, not in some big moment down the road, but right here, right now, with the small choices you make today. Small daily challenges create massive transformation. They may not look like much in the moment, but they're building the foundation of the life you want. And when you stack them, when you live them, when you commit to them, they'll take you to places you can't even imagine right now. Life is going to test you, whether you like it or not. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. At some point, you're going to face loss, rejection, failure, or circumstances that you never asked for. And when that happens, the truth about your strength will be revealed. The problem is, most people wait until life knocks them flat before they realize they're unprepared. They wait until the storm hits before they start building their shelter. They wait until everything falls apart before they decide to grow. By then, it's too late. The damage is already done. But you have a choice. You don't have to wait for life to force you into growth. You can choose to break your own limits before life breaks them for you. You can challenge yourself daily, push yourself into discomfort, build your resilience, and prepare yourself for whatever comes. That way, when the storm arrives, and it will, you're not fragile. You're not shaken. You're ready. You're strong. Look around at the people who inspire you, the ones who seem unstoppable, the ones who handle adversity with grace, who keep moving forward when others quit. Do you think they were born that way? Do you think they were just given that strength? No, they built it. They forged it through challenge, through discipline, through choosing to push beyond their limits before life forced them to. That's the difference between those who thrive and those who crumble. The thriving ones didn't wait for life to test them. They tested themselves every day. Here's what most people don't understand. Limits are an illusion. They're not real. They're stories you tell yourself, lines you've drawn in your own mind. I can only handle this much stress. I can only work this hard. I can only take this much pain. Those aren't truths. They're self-imposed ceilings. The only way you ever discover what you're really capable of is by pushing past them, but by breaking them. If you don't, those limits own you. They keep you small. They keep you safe. They keep you unprepared for the moment when life comes to collect. Let me ask you something. How do you react when life hits you with something you didn't expect? Do you collapse or do you freeze? Do you freeze or do you fight? That answer depends on what you've been training for. If you've been living in comfort, avoiding challenge, avoiding discomfort, then the first real test life gives you will feel unbearable. But if you've been breaking your own limits daily, when life throws something at you, you've already built the muscle to handle it. You've already created the identity of someone who doesn't back down. Think about an athlete. They don't just train for the big game on the day of the game. They push themselves day in and day out, long before the lights turn on. They test their bodies, their minds, their discipline. So when it matters, they're ready. Life is the same way. Every small challenge you set for yourself is training. Training for the inevitable moments when life will challenge you. Training for the unexpected setbacks, the losses, the pain. If you break your limits now, when you choose it, those moments won't break you later when you don't. Here's the beautiful paradox. The more you challenge yourself voluntarily, the less life has to challenge you. When you raise your own standards, when you push past your own limits, life doesn't have to come in and do it for you. But when you refuse, you stay stagnant, life will find a way to push you anyway. It will break the limits you weren't willing to break. It will drag you into discomfort, whether you like it or not. So why wait? Why not take control now? Why not be the one to decide where and how you grow instead of waiting for life to decide for you? I want you to imagine a version of yourself who has already broken the limits you carry today. Imagine the fears that no longer hold you, the challenges that no longer intimidate you, the strength you've built by consistently pushing yourself further than you thought possible. That version of you exists. But you won't meet them by staying comfortable. Only meet them by breaking through the ceiling you've placed above your head. And it doesn't have to start big. It's not about shattering your entire life overnight. It's about setting challenges daily that force you to go a little further than you did yesterday. If you ran 2 miles yesterday, run 2.5 today. If you spoke up once yesterday, speak up twice today. If you faced one fear last week, face 2 this week. That's how you break limits. By expanding them daily, little by little, until the things that once felt impossible become normal, and the things that once scared you don't anymore. There's a powerful shift that happens when you live this way. You stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. You stop fearing limits and start hunting them down because you know every time you break one, you become stronger. You start craving that growth, craving that discomfort, craving that expansion. And when that becomes who you are, life stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you shape, something you direct, something you control. The truth is, most people will never live this way. They'll keep waiting. They'll keep choosing comfort. They'll keep telling themselves their limits are real. And then one day life will hit them with a challenge they can't handle and they'll break. You don't have to be one of them. You can choose a different path. You can choose to break your limits today, so when life tests you tomorrow, you're already ready. Because here's what I know, life will break you if you let it. If you break yourself first, if you willingly challenge yourself daily, if you willingly push past your own limits, then life can't touch you the same way. You'll be stronger, tougher, and more resilient than anything it throws at you. That's when you stop just surviving and start truly living. Break your own limits before life breaks them for you. Motivation is a beautiful thing. It feels good when you have it. It's like fuel in your tank that makes everything seem possible. You're motivated, you can take on the world, you get up early, you hit the gym, you work harder, you dream bigger. The problem is motivation doesn't last. It's inconsistent, it's unreliable. Some mornings it's there, some mornings it's gone. If you're relying on motivation to build your success, you're already setting yourself up to fail because success isn't built on what you do when you feel motivated. It's built on what you do when you don't. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is the difference maker. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when your emotions try to pull you back. Discipline is the muscle that separates those who dream from those who achieve. You cannot rely on motivation because it's a mood, and moods change. But discipline, when it's trained, becomes your identity. It becomes who you are. And when that happens, success stops being optional. It becomes inevitable. Think about it. How many times have you felt inspired, set a big goal, and then watched that fire die out after a few days or weeks? It wasn't because the goal wasn't worth it. It wasn't because you weren't capable. It was because you relied on motivation to carry you through. But motivation is like a spark. It ignites, it burns bright, but then it fades. Discipline is the firewood. Discipline is what keeps the flame alive long after the spark is gone. And the truth is, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's not about never missing. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, even when the excitement has worn off. That's why daily challenges are so important, because every small challenge you commit to builds discipline. Every time you do what's uncomfortable, every time you push past the voice that says stop, you strengthen your discipline. And that discipline becomes the foundation of everything you build. People ask, how do I stay motivated? Wrong question. The right question is, how do I stay disciplined? Because if you can master discipline, you don't need motivation. Discipline carries you through the days when you feel tired, when you feel doubtful, when you feel stuck. Discipline is the habit of doing. It's the habit of moving. It's the habit of following through on what you said you do long after the mood you said it in has disappeared. And here's the reality: discipline is freedom. Most people think it's the opposite. They think discipline means restriction, limitation, sacrifice. But the truth is, without discipline, you're a slave to your feelings. You're controlled by your moods, by your impulses, by your comfort zone. With discipline, you're free. Free to build the body you want, free to create the business you dream of, free to live life on your terms instead of being chained by procrastination, laziness, or fear. Discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It gives it to you. Now let's be honest. Discipline is not easy in the beginning. It feels hard because you're going against years of conditioning, years of giving into comfort, years of letting your emotions dictate your actions. But like any muscle, discipline grows with use. The first time you push yourself to do what you don't feel like doing, it's tough. The second time, it's still tough. But over time, it gets easier. You start to expect more from yourself. You start to see yourself differently. And that's the key. Discipline isn't just about action, it's about identity. When you live with discipline, you start to believe you're the kind of person who always follows through. That belief changes everything. And here's something powerful: discipline creates momentum. The hardest part is starting. The hardest part is showing up when you don't feel like it. But once you do, once you take that step, momentum carries you. How many times have you dreaded doing something, going to the gym, making that call, writing that proposal, only to find that once you started, it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought? That's the power of discipline. It gets you to start. Starting creates momentum, and momentum creates results. The truth is, discipline will give you what motivation never can: consistency. And consistency is the secret sauce of success. Not intensity, not occasional bursts of effort, but consistent, disciplined action over time. That's how you build anything meaningful. That's how you create transformation. That's how you separate yourself from the pack. Because most people are inconsistent. They wait to feel like it. They wait for motivation. While they're waiting, someone disciplined is out there doing. And let's be clear, discipline doesn't mean you don't feel the pull of laziness or fear or doubt. It means you don't give into it. You feel it, you acknowledge it, You act anyway. That's what makes it so powerful. It's not about eliminating resistance. It's about mastering your response to it. That mastery is what builds strength, resilience, and results. So ask yourself right now, where in your life are you waiting for motivation? Where are you holding back, telling yourself, I'll do it when I feel ready, when I feel inspired, when I feel motivated? That's the area where discipline is missing. That's the area where your next breakthrough lies. Because if you wait to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. But if you choose discipline, you'll create progress right now. This is why the people who accomplish extraordinary things aren't necessarily the most talented or the smartest or the luckiest. They're the most disciplined. They're the ones who show up when others quit. They're the ones who do the work regardless of how they feel. They're the ones who built the habit of following through. And that's available to you if you decide to train it. So the next time you wake up and you don't feel like doing it, the next time the voice in your head says, take it easy, do it tomorrow, you deserve a break, that's your moment of truth. That's the battle between motivation and discipline. And if you choose discipline, if you win that battle, you not only get the result in front of you, you strengthen the identity of someone who always follows through. That's how you build a life that's unshakable. Motivation feels good, but discipline gets you results. Motivation sparks, discipline sustains. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline is forever. And if you want success, if you want fulfillment, if you want to build a life that's unstoppable, you must choose discipline over motivation every single time. Fear is the great divider. It's the invisible wall that stands between you and the life you want. Every dream you have, every goal you imagine, every vision of who you could become lives on the other side of fear. And yet, most people spend their entire lives running from it. They avoid fear, they hide from it, they try to numb it, and then they wonder why they feel stuck. They never break through why their life feels smaller than it could be. But here's the truth about fear. It's not your enemy. It's energy. It's fuel. Fear is a signal, a compass pointing you toward the very thing that will make you grow. Presence of fear doesn't mean stop. It means go. It means this is the place where you have the most to gain. It means this is the doorway to the next level of your life. The problem isn't fear itself. It's your relationship with it. If you let fear control you, it paralyzes you. If you face it, if you lean into it, if you use it, it becomes the most powerful force you have. Think about it. When was the last time you felt real fear? Not the fear of something trivial, but the kind of fear that made your heart race, your stomach tighten, your thoughts scatter. Maybe it was starting something new. Maybe it was speaking in front of people. Maybe it was taking a risk on yourself. And what happened when you finally faced it? The other side of that fear wasn't their growth, wasn't their pride, wasn't there a new strength inside you that didn't exist before. That's the pattern. Every time you face fear, you gain power. Every time you avoid it, you lose it. Fear has one purpose: to test your courage. It shows up to ask, will you stay where you are or will you grow? And when you say yes to fear, when you walk straight into it, something shifts inside you. You stop being the person who's controlled by it and you become the person who commands it. That shift changes everything. Because once you learn that fear isn't fatal, once you learn that you can walk through it and come out stronger, you stop being afraid of fear itself. You start chasing it. You start seeing it as the pathway, not the problem. And here's the thing, fear never disappears. People think, one day I'll be fearless. That's not how it works. The only people who don't feel fear are the ones who stop growing, who stop challenging themselves, who stop pushing into new territory. Fear doesn't leave you. It follows growth. Which means if you feel fear, you're alive, you're moving, you're expanding. The goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to master it, to transform it from a cage into a weapon. How do you do that? You face it daily. Just like discipline, just like growth, fear must be challenged in small doses every single day. Start with the things that make you uncomfortable, having the hard conversation, making the phone call you've been avoiding, taking the step you've been putting off. Each time you do, you take back a little more power. You rewire your brain to stop associating fear with danger and start associating fear with opportunity. You teach yourself that the butterflies in your stomach are not assigned to stop. They're assigned to move. And something extraordinary happens when you live this way. You build confidence, not the fake kind, not the kind you try to project when you're shaking inside, but real confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you faced your fears again and again, you're still standing. That kind of confidence is unshakable. It doesn't matter what life throws at you because you've already proven to yourself that fear won't break you. You've already built the evidence that you can walk through it. Most people never understand this. They think courage means not feeling fear, but courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act in spite of it. Courage is looking fear in the face and saying, you will not control me. Courage is stepping into the unknown and trusting that you'll figure it out as you go. Courage is the key to unlocking every part of your potential, and fear is the test that makes courage real. Now let me be clear. Facing fear doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean throwing yourself into danger for no reason. It means being honest about what's holding you back and choosing to confront it. It means acknowledging that the life you want, the person you want to become, requires you to walk into fear instead of away from it. And the more you do, the stronger you become until fear stops being something you run from and starts being something you hunt. Here's the beautiful part. Once you learn to face your own fears, you inspire others to face theirs. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. When people see you leaning into discomfort, when they see you taking risks, they see you walking into fear with your head high, it gives them permission to do the same. And suddenly you're not just transforming yourself, you're transforming everyone around you. You become a leader, not because you told people what to do, because you showed them what's possible. Fear is the doorway, fear is the test. Fear is the energy that can either paralyze you or empower you. And the choice is always yours. Every time fear shows up, you're given an opportunity. You can step back into safety or you can step forward into growth. You can let fear control you or you can take its energy and use it as fuel. One choice shrinks you, the other expands you. So the next time fear rises up in your chest, don't run, don't hide, don't numb it, recognize it, feel it, and then step straight into it. Because on the other side of fear is the life you've been waiting for. Face fear and turn it into power. One of the greatest traps that steals people's dreams is this illusion of perfection. Somewhere along the way, we were conditioned to believe that success only counts when it looks flawless. That if we stumble, if we fall, if we make mistakes, somehow we're not worthy. But perfection is a lie. It's an illusion designed to keep you stuck. Because if you're always waiting to be perfect, you'll never start. And if you never start, you'll never grow. The truth is, success is not about being perfect. It's about making progress. Progress is where fulfillment lives. Progress is where momentum builds. Progress is the fuel that turns a vision into reality. You don't need to do everything right. You just need to take one step forward, one more push, one more attempt. Success isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in consistent, imperfect actions stacked day after day after day. Think about a baby learning to walk. That baby doesn't stand up once, stumble, fall, and say, well, I guess walking just isn't for me. No, they keep trying. They fall 1,000 times, but each fall teaches them balance, teaches them strength, teaches them coordination. And one day, shaky steps turn into steady strides. That's progress. That's how every single skill in life is built. Yet somewhere along the way, as adults, we forget that. We start believing failure means we're not good enough, when in reality, failure is the evidence that we're in motion, that we're learning, that we're alive. The people who achieve the most in life are not the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who never stop moving. The ones who value progress over perfection. They understand that perfection is unattainable, but progress is always possible. And when you focus on progress, something incredible happens. You start to see growth everywhere. You start noticing the little wins, the small steps, the daily victories. You stop waiting for some massive transformation and you start celebrating the fact that today you're better than you were yesterday. And let me tell you, nothing creates more drive, more hunger, more fire than progress. It doesn't matter how small. You go to the gym and lift one more rep than you did last week. Progress. You wake up 10 minutes earlier and use that time to plan your day. Progress. You take action on something you've been putting off for months. Progress. Every step forward, no matter how tiny, is proof that you're growing, that you're moving closer to the life you want. And when you string those small wins together, they create momentum. Momentum is unstoppable. Momentum is what makes the impossible feel inevitable. But if you chase perfection, you'll never feel that, because perfection will always leave you empty. Perfection will always make you feel like you're not enough. You'll hit milestones, and instead of celebrating, you'll find flaws. You'll achieve goals, and instead of fulfillment, you'll feel pressure. Perfection robs you of joy. Progress gives it back. Progress says, look how far you've come. Progress says you're moving. Progress says, keep going. You're on the right path. And here's something else. Progress is honest. Progress doesn't care about appearances. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep showing up. You just have to keep moving the needle forward. And when you live this way, you let go of perfection and embrace progress, you free yourself. You free yourself from the fear of making mistakes. You free yourself from the weight of unrealistic expectations. You free yourself from comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, because comparison is another trap that goes hand in hand with perfection. You look at someone who's years ahead of you and you convince yourself that you're failing. You don't see their years of struggle. You don't see their late nights, their doubts, their mistakes. You're comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20, and that's a game you can't win. The only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday compared to who you are today. That's the measure of success. Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you moving forward? If the answer is yes, you're succeeding. Let me tell you something important. Progress compounds. One small step every day becomes massive over time. If you improve yourself just 1% each day, at the end of the year, you're not 365% better. You're 37 times better. That's the power of compounding progress. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's unstoppable when you're consistent. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They chase perfection in the short term and miss the transformation that comes from long-term progress. So the question isn't, did you do it perfectly? The question is, did you do it today? Did you move forward? Did you take one more step? That's how success is built. That's how greatness is created. Not in flawless execution, but in relentless progress. Now imagine what your life would look like if you stopped obsessing over perfection and started obsessing over progress. Imagine waking up every day not asking yourself if you're good enough, but asking, what can I do today to be just a little better than I was yesterday? Imagine the freedom in that. Imagine the confidence that builds when you know you're growing every single day. Imagine how much further you'd be 1 year from now if you focused on progress instead of waiting for the perfect moment to begin. And here's the truth. The perfect moment never comes. The stars never align. The conditions are never flawless. Only moment you have is now. The only thing you can control is the step you take today. And if you choose progress today and tomorrow and the next day, you will look back and realize that you've built a life you once thought was impossible. Progress is the antidote to perfection. Progress is the key to fulfillment. Progress is success. And the more you embrace that truth, the more unstoppable you become. Because you'll stop waiting, you'll stop doubting, you'll stop hesitating, you'll start living. So don't waste another day chasing perfection. Don't waste another moment holding yourself back because you're afraid it won't be flawless. Start where you are with what you have and take the next step. Because success is not perfection. Success is progress. Redefine success as progress, not perfection, and you will never stop growing.